Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. So as promised, in this video I'll be showing you the new workshop and also introducing you to the old one since you haven't really been shown this one. This is a humble little storage space that my dad uses that I borrowed and used to work in as a workshop. So this apart from housing the fodder and the feed for the cow also houses the tools, all the tools that I've been using till now. So as you can see, it is a little bit cramped, not really great workspace, I would say. But I had to make do with what I had, and this is what I had. So this is a little rack that my dad made. He's kind of a fabricator himself. So he's the one who also bought this drill press. It is his machine. I guess I'm following in his footsteps, I would say. Yeah. This is kind of the bird's eye view. So as you can see, I couldn't really use this workshop to fabricate a lot of bigger things, and maybe if I try to work on the car or my Jeep, I didn't really have a space to go. So that sparked me to build my own workshop. So for the place, I really wanted somewhere that is quiet and away from the village that I live in. But all I had was a little bit of land that my grandfather's house sits on. So it was already a ruin, and the home was falling apart, and we had to clear the building anyway. So I thought this is a good place to build the workshop. So after clearing the ruins, the boundaries had to be marked, and a compound wall was built to this purpose. I was away from the town, and my dad supervised this process. The only thing we distracted was my grandfather's home, and we used to live in the same block, the same compounded area, and our home or our old home still remains. That is to be demolished later. So the next thing is to dig up the holes for the pillars to go in, and the land is so hard and it is full of shale or rock, as you would call it. And we had to use a breaker and dig up the holes. We tried using manual labor and just with the uh, manual tools, and that was not possible. So we had to bring in the breaker. Again, this is dad picking up the rubbles from the hole, the post holes. All the pillars and trusses were fabricated off-site by another person. He's a local welder, and he delivered the goods here. We painted them using another person, and this is the puja that we did to commemorate the first rising of the first pole. It had to be done on a good day, as Indian traditions go. This is me and my brother bringing up the first pole. We now set it temporarily in place using just rocks in the hole we dug, and that's supposed to hold it in place till the concrete is poured. So these are the poles, the pillars being risen. This is kind of unconventional and not really how I've seen things being done, but this is how it is done around here. So this is the first time I'm building something on my own, and I had to learn a lot of things regarding managing labor, getting quotes, and other things such as this. So one of the main struggles we faced was finding labor to do the job. And this job, as you can see, is not a simple one. All the trusses, the beams, the pillars, all are huge, and on a scale that is not usually done around in a village. So it had its own challenges because people were new to this kind of work. So after bringing the pillars up and bolting all the trusses, and drawing the all the pillars. Finally, the concrete is poured into the holes to kind of set it in place permanently. Again, I wanted to go a different way by using concrete bolts and having a bolted joint for the pillars, but the person doing the job was not familiar with this kind of job, with this kind of setup that I was asking for, and so we had to go with what he was familiar with. If I had to do things again, I would probably do it another way. So yeah, this is all the beams and pillars set up, and so the next step is the concrete. And before the concrete can be poured, the base on which the concrete sits needs to be very rigid, I would say, or solidified. I don't know how you put it. So for this purpose, we had to rent a vibratory compactor and compact the gravel below the concrete floor. So this is my brother doing one of the rounds. So this really works in the gravel and compacts it so much that when the concrete is poured, it can really sit without cracking. So that is the main purpose for doing this. Without compacted base, what would happen is the concrete would crack whenever you load something, because the ground below beneath it will have a give to it. Finally, it is concrete day. We had contracted a cement ready mix cement company to pour about 6.25 meter cubes of concrete. So the thickness of the concrete slab, I wanted it to be around 4 inches. So this I thought is a good number. Good would give us a good strong base concrete floor. With a little bit of research from the internet, I finalized the grade of M25 for the concrete floor. Someday in the future, I really wish to have a milling machine or a CNC machine in this shop, and the concrete floor needs to be future proofed, I guess. So that's why I decided to go with M25 grade concrete with 4 inches of thickness. So here is the concrete truck coming in. I was really worried that the truck wouldn't fit into this small narrow road that led to the workshop, but it did fit and it did go through well. So this concrete company is a relatively new one that was begun recently, and the owner was really helpful in making this happen, because a lot of concrete places don't really cater to customers that require only small quantities of concrete. So this was almost a full load of concrete, but people usually do 10 to 20 loads. So that's how the industry works here. Now I'll let you enjoy this time lapse. So this is the power trowel finishing off the floor. So as the concrete dries, the power trowel is run, leaving a gap of around half an hour, depending on the weather, on the water content of the concrete, and eventually it hardens up and the floor becomes smooth. You can really see the difference in this final video. Finally, it is time for the steel sheets to come on the roof and the sides. Since this is a tight space to work in, we had to build a scaffolding around the building to help the workers mount the sheets. Once the roof came in, it really took shape, and I was really happy. So these are the cutouts for the wind turbines to for the ventilation of the shed. Yeah. Unfortunately, I was not there to film the panels going up on the sides. So sorry, really sorry for that. So here are the final steps happening. These are the doors coming together. So this is how the panels go on the frame. So the doors are finally rolling and in place. I really wanted to have a rolling door so that it saves space. With everything completed, it is time for the final puja. So this is ceremoniously opening the shop for the first time, or any place that we build, we start with the puja like this. That is my uncle, and he's really curious about cameras. So this is the final building with everything done. Although it took a lot of time, nearly a year to bring everything together and finish it, I'm really happy how it turned out. So this is the entrance, and this old building will be knocked down, and this is the garage now. The wiring is still pending, and the first thing we moved into the new garage was the lathe I bought. I'll do a quick video about this lathe sometime in the future, and this is us moving it to the new workshop. So earlier this was placed inside the ruined building that you can see in front of the new shop. This is the current state of the workshop. I've moved in the lathe, and I've also bought some racks to organize some stuff I had. Also bought two other cabinets, and the wiring is not yet done. It is partially wired some lights and sockets to power the tools, and that's about it. It is really nice and spacious. I can work on a lot of things like the car, the jeep, and stuff like that in here. And I don't have to worry about putting everything back together the same day. I can leave stuff around for a couple of days before I get back to it. A place like this really helps me in developing new projects and carrying forward the projects I have already. So if I didn't have a space like this, I don't know where I would be working. The next things in plan are the jeep. That is my number one priority, I would say, because it has been standing in the rain on sun for I think now 2 years now, and I really like to get into that project. But that is a very long project, and I'm not sure how fast it would go. So the immediate things I would say for this workshop is I would need a really big workbench, like 8 feet by 4 feet is what is the size I'm thinking of. And then the car or a vehicle would nicely fit in here. And I also need a rack for all the raw materials, to organize all the raw materials, or else they would be lying around the floor, and I would really be losing a lot of floor space. So this is the back door, where I can there's a tap, and there's a bathroom where I can wash stuff and things like that. So coming to the overall cost of the build, the total bill was around 4 lakhs for everything, including labor, transport, and the raw materials. And I would also have to thank my family, particularly my father and my brothers, because they were there when I was not there to supervise things and helped me build this thing. So really grateful to them. So yeah, that is the current state of the garage or the workshop. And please do subscribe to the channel to get updates from this project if you're interested. Yeah, I'll see you around next time. Bye bye.